Well, welcome. Today, we want to talk about protein, especially as we age.
Mm.
What are our protein needs as we get older, and what are they when we're younger? I did a quick check yesterday, and I found that I was getting in my whole food plant-based eating 50 grams of protein for the day, which is great. I was really pleased to see that. So we want to tell them more about the details of our protein needs.
Yeah, so Dr. Furman, Dr. Joel Furman, he's kind of our go-to guy, has been for years, decades. And what we like about Dr. Furman is that he has a clinic, he works with people all the time, helping them restore health and really create balance and thriving in their lives. So he's not just a research scientist, he's really about where the rubber meets the road, really keeping us healthy. And what he's recommending from the research and all of his experience is that we should have about 30 grams of protein per 1,000 calories. And that's even as we get older. That's about, we probably don't need quite that much when we're a little bit younger. Do you remember what he was saying about that?
Well, I think he was saying 20% protein. You want to get 20% protein of what you're eating in a
Oh,
day.
okay. So 20% would be actually 20 grams per 1,000 calories. And so when he's talking about 30 grams, he's talking about those of us who are a bit older. And the reason we need more protein when we're older is that things don't work quite as well.
We don't absorb as much.
Yeah, it's not just that I don't quite have that same energy and stamina, but my digestion doesn't have the same energy and stamina. So that's what they found is that if you want to keep your muscle mass up, because that's what the protein does. A lot of the protein is the building blocks for our body. So it builds muscle mass. It also is the building blocks for hormones and enzymes. It's used a lot in the functioning of the body, but it's a structural thing too. It's our mass. So as people age, sometimes they start losing that muscle mass, and that's partly because they need more protein in their diet as they're getting older. So he's recommending 30 grams per 1,000 calories. And what I like about that number is that, well, one, you don't have to count, how much was in my beans and my oats and my lettuce and all of that. But it takes into account are different size. It's like I'm quite a bit bigger than Connie, and as a result, I eat a lot more than Connie. So that gives me the extra protein that I need that Connie doesn't. So it's a real nice rule of thumb. Just um, basically don't worry about it. If you're eating a wide variety of whole food, whole plant foods, you're getting the protein you need. And so, just as an example, it's like beans and lentils. They have like 9 grams per half cup. I can sit down and eat a cup of beans pretty easily. So there, I've got almost a third of what I need for my day. Um, then grains can vary anywhere from like 3 to 10 grams per half cup. And
And what are the highest grains in protein?
yeah, so the highest content protein grains are quinoa and amaranth.
Mhm.
Yeah, and oats is pretty good too. Oats is about, I guess, 4.5, so it's half of what beans is, but it's good for grain. It's good for a grain. And the surprising thing is like dark leafy greens, well, greens, lettuce, all that stuff. They're pretty high in protein. And I look at it, I go, how can this stuff be high in protein? It's like, I think it's got to have this mass. But what Dr. Furman points out is that there are very few calories in the greens and the lettuce and that because there's virtually no fat. are carbohydrates. And so when we're eating our beans and our grains, we're getting fat and carbohydrate with it. And that affects that ratio of how many grams of protein per calorie. So I can sit down, and I do. I was thinking about this yesterday. We've shared with you how big our salads are and how big our servings are of the cooked greens. And I realize I'm easy eating 2 cups of greens. And so that's not adding all that many calories, but it's adding, even though like kale and lettuce, and that's only about 2.5 grams per half cup. I'm eating 2 cups. So I'm getting like 10 grams of
Yeah.
protein from my kale.
Yeah.
So it starts to add up. And where the protein is really highest really is in nuts and seeds. But we've always, as you know, kind of wanted to keep an eye on the nuts and seeds we eat because there's more fat in them. And so if we're really concerned about weight gain, if we overdo the nuts and seeds, then we can add extra weight. But it's like nuts are 10 to 14 grams per half cup. I mean, yeah, per half cup. And then flax and hemp hearts, flax is like 20 grams and hemp hearts is like 30 grams
Wow.
per half cup.
Wow.
But you don't want to eat a lot of those. But it's good to know that they're really good sources of protein.
Well, what we recommend is that you have a tablespoon of nuts or seeds at each meal, no more. And with hemp and flax and chia, that you have a heaping tablespoon of that per day, one of them, or a mix of them. And that does the trick. That's what seems to be most helpful for our health and for what the body requires.
Yeah, so we're wanting to get that tablespoon of the flax, hemp, or chia or the omega-3s that they carry. But we don't want to overdo it because of the extra calories. But when we're getting those omega-3s, it's great that we're getting such a good source of protein as well.
Excuse me.
Mm.
Go
Well,
ahead.
the other thing I wanted to mention was that not all protein is created equal. We've mentioned this before, but I think any conversation about protein, sources of protein, you need to look at, if we just isolate the protein in a food, that's great because that's what our body gets. But not all protein is created equal in the sense of the food it comes with is quite different. So we've talked before about animal protein versus plant protein and how animal protein, when we digest animal protein, it's more acidic. And being more acidic, our bodies have to adjust for that added acid load. And it does that by usually drawing calcium out of the bones, or wherever we can get it, hair, fingernails, whatever. It draws the calcium because the calcium buffers that acidic increase. So when we get our protein from plants, we don't have that acid load to have to deal with. It's a lot easier for the body to deal with. And when we get the protein from the animals, we're adding saturated fat that doesn't come with plant foods unless you're getting it from coconut oil. And the other thing is that it comes with cholesterol, added cholesterol, and there's no cholesterol in plants. So we like to say not all protein is created equal. I guess what we're saying is not all foods that we get our protein with come with the same benefits.
So take a day if you feel to and just total up what your protein is. See how you rate. And if you're eating whole food plant-based, not processed foods, whole food plant-based, you should be getting all that you need for protein.
Yeah, if you're eating a wide variety, I've got to say, every time I sit down to do that, I get about halfway through and I go, this is too complicated. How am I going to figure out exactly how much of an apple did I have? How many blueberries? It's just like, and then I have to look it up. But Connie loves doing that stuff. So she ran it through yesterday and she knows.
Yeah.
So I know if she knows, I'm good.
Yes, you're good. for sure. So the recipe was really good and surprising. It's a tangy apple cabbage saute, and it uses a little Dijon mustard and apple cider vinegar at the end, and it is really tasty. So give it a try. I think you'll love it. It's a great side salad or side dish for a meal. Really good.
Yeah, really good. We had it as a side dish with our lunch yesterday, and there was a little left that I had for breakfast this morning. And it's nice because, we call it a tangy cabbage and apple saute. It's not too much tang. You know how you can get like too strong, like if you put a big dill pickle on a bean burger or something. What you taste is the tang of the pickle. Where'd the burger go? So this is nice because it's a subtle tang. There's that nice underlying quality of the mustard and the vinegar, but the flavors of the cabbage and the apple really come through. It's a lovely meal. Or
Has a bit of
dish.
onion in it too. It's really good. So give it a try. Thanks for joining
Yeah,
us.
nice to
See
have
you
you.
soon.